process of getting my dream car was anything but typical, and in the 11th hour, the deal almost fell through. Typically, when you go check out a car you want to buy, you meet the owner, shake hands, get the car, and you leave. This went more like search the internet for months, drive 2 hours one way to check out this car, talk to a lawyer, go home, make the deal over text, make arrangements for a trailer, and then disaster. This may seem like a lot of struggle just for buying a used car. However, it wasn't just any car. It was a car I dreamed of having for quite some time. I wanted to share this story because there's a lot you can learn from it if you're interested in buying another car. And a lot of stuff just happened. In order for the story to make sense, we gotta start at the top. But first, let me ask, has a movie or show ever led to you taking action in your own life? Yes. D ignited this burning desire in me. Every day I would daydream of being able to rip down the mountain pass in a 5-speed Toyota Corolla. Well, apparently this is not a very uncommon thing, because if you look at the prices of these Corollas today, geez, because Toyota didn't plan for the demand for these things to go through the roof. After looking through probably 100 pages of Google, going through every marketplace, and only finding salvage title rust buckets or cars that would bankrupt me financially, I realized, all right, we gotta look for something else. So I opened my eyes to the RX-7, either the FB, FC. FD was a little out of my price range at the time, and any of the S chassis really. After recruiting friends and family to help me scour the internet, to help me find one of the cars I just previously mentioned, my dad actually messaged me with a link to this. No, this was not a drill. The only problem, it didn't run. And funny enough, I'm actually watching third stage of Initial D when this was sent to me. A base model 1986 RX-7 FC, and it was only 2 hours away. I requested a half day off the next day at work, and I was off to check out this FC. So we arrived at the shop where the car was located. We met this guy right here who's the lawyer in training who was in charge of selling the car for their client. He explained that no one had really come to look at the car for a while, which makes sense because it didn't run and it was located in the middle of farm country. So I mentally noted that and got to inspecting the car. Another note, the lawyer in training did not wipe down the car. The shit had hella dust on it, and this made it clear that he was a rookie at selling cars. It was in great condition, and I knew that I wanted it. I was just going through the motions, checking everything out to see what exactly I would be getting myself into in terms of work required to get this thing up and going. Anyways, I made an offer for slightly less than the listed price. The lawyer declined. The lawyer in training declined because the client said they were firm on the price. I understood, and I thanked him for his time. I said I would let him know over text message if I could pay the price that they were asking. Eventually I did, I agreed, and he said he would talk to his boss, aka the real lawyer. During this time, I talked to my dad because he was going to be the one trailering this thing back, because it didn't run, obviously. And yeah, I got that all set up. It really sounded like this deal was about to go through, and then that's when the text message that I showed earlier hit. He was asking me for $2,000 more on top of the listing price because there was another buyer. Reality is, the poor lawyer in training was just being flamed by his boss that he didn't negotiate for a higher price. God, please, no! And so now he was trying to reconcile his mistake. So I was taking a pretty big bet here because I was refusing to pay more. If there was actually another buyer, I would have lost the car that I wasted a bunch of time trying to get. However, I just looked at it rationally. It's been about 2 to 3 days since we last inspected the car, and no one had checked out the car in a long time. And 2, the car doesn't run, so whoever bought it has to have a trailer. So I thought, all right, what are the odds that someone came and checked out the car in the past 2 days, had a trailer, and is willing to pay more than listing? Because he didn't negotiate with me at all. So the longest 3 days of my life go by. I'm waiting every single day, hoping that I get a text message saying that the imaginary buyer has backed out of the deal. But in the meantime, I was looking at other RX-7s. So essentially, I was just waiting him out. I had all the time in the world because, I'm just looking, shopping around while he's hoping that his boss doesn't yell at him for messing up the deal. And eventually I get the text after 3 days. Boom. First day of the RX-7. After all that struggle, the car was finally in my possession. Also, when my dad was bringing the car back on the trailer, the calipers seized up about 10 minutes away from the house, and when he arrived, the brakes were literally smoking. So if it happened any earlier, the RX-7 would have been stranded on the side of a highway in a trailer. The struggles weren't over just yet, because if you remember, the car still didn't run. No good. We diagnosed it to be a issue with the fuel and had to drain out 20-year-old fuel that's been sitting for a while. And we took a look inside the gas tank and that shit was hella corroded. I mean, just look at this fuel pump.
See, that's all crystallized and everything.
Unfortunately, this meant I had to get the fuel tank refurbished and buy a new fuel pump. Just more time and money. And on top of that, I also had to get some coolant, oil, and a bunch of other stuff for the engine. Yeah, just cleaning the interior a bit. Got the wheels off so we can drain the brake fluid up on the jacks. It's coming along nicely. Threw the Japanese plate on there just cause. Pretty much refreshed all the fluids in the car: gear oil, standard oil, coolant, fuel. Damn. Here we go. The RX-7 FC3S was finally alive after a 20-year nap. 20-plus year nap. I was one step closer to fulfilling my dream, but there was one more thing I had to do before I could take it to the mountain. Don't get me wrong, I was exhilarated to be driving a 5-speed manual, even in the city. I was heel-toeing at every stoplight. The final piece was some coilovers. Got the Feel 441 Plus suspension in place of my OEM shocks. Now that the car was in a respectable place, it was time to do some cruising down the mountain. All the problems and struggles from this journey made this drive down the mountain so much more satisfying. It was crazy to think that just months before I was watching Initial D battles on YouTube and dreaming to have a classic Japanese sports car with a manual transmission. The story with this car isn't just done yet, because the original owner, the real original owner, not the pretend lawyer, gave me all the original paperwork and repair manuals, and she even left me a heartfelt note talking about how she got this RX-7 up to 200,000 miles. Yes, this was her daily driver. Pretty insane. So I will be making another video covering all that soon. Hope this story inspires you to save up for a project car, work on your own project car, or just take action on things you want in life because you can make it happen. Anyways, catch you next time.